we are open to page 175 and 176, and we're going to correct our homework. So on 175, we had number 3, 10, and 12. So if we look at number 3, remember we were estimating, and when we see the word estimate, what do we automatically think of, 5th grade? Well, guessing, but there's a word that starts with an R that we do. Rounding. So we know if we see the word estimate, that means we need to round. So number 3, they had 19.3. So what you could have done, or what I think most of you did, you look at the largest place value, which would have been the tens place. You looked at next door, it's a 9. That's 5 or more, so we add 1 more to the 1 to make it 2. Everything else becomes 0. So 19.3, most of you probably rounded to 20. And then you probably kept the 6 the same, and that would have gotten you 120. Now, if you rounded 19.3 to 20 and then turned the 6 into a 10, you may have gotten 200, because that would have been 20 times 10. Did everyone get 120 or 200 as their answer? Yeah? Is there anyone who has a question or you rounded differently that you want to ask about? Mackenzie, turn around, please. Okay. Then we had number 10. So number 10, same thing. We round. So 99.7, I think most of us rounded to 100. 92, I think a lot of you rounded to 90. So if we have 100 times 90, that would get us 9,000. Are there questions on number 10? Zoe? Okay, so next time you just want to make sure you're rounding both numbers, okay? Okay. So, let's see. Yeah. All right, then we had number, 12, right? Number 12? Okay, so then number 12, we had 2 decimal numbers. So the first one, 23.7, we look at the largest place value, which is the 2 in the tens place. We look next door, there's a 3. So the 2 stays the same, everything else becomes zeros. So this would have rounded to 20. Then our second number, 4.76, we look at the 4, which is the largest place value. Look next door, it's a 7. That's higher than 5, so we would add 1 more to 4 to make it 5, and then everything becomes zeros. So we would have had 20 times 5. Now, that would be what? 20 times 5 is 100, right? Yeah. 20 times 5 would be 100. Did anyone get 100 for 12? Okay. Did anyone get 125 for 12? Okay. Addie, what did you do? Jackie. So you did 20 times 5, right? Okay, so you got 100? Awesome. So you guys, sometimes when we're rounding, when we're estimating, we might get a little bit different answer. But as long as I can see how you're rounding, like on a test or something, and it makes sense, then you will get points. You just want to make sure there's a reason for why you're rounding it the way you're rounding it. Are there questions on these first 3? How do we feel 1 through 5 on these first 3 numbers of our homework? Show me on your hands. 1 through 5. How do we feel? How do we feel? Okay. Yosius, how did you feel? Awesome. Hands down. Okay, so then we had 15 and 17. So 15 said, can Mrs. Davis and her 2 sisters get their hair colored for less than $100 if they include a $10 tip? Explain. Jack P. Voice, please. Okay, so they want to get their hair colored for less than $100. So if we look over at our chart here, hair coloring is $28.95. Now, how many of you rounded that to $30? How many of you rounded hair coloring to $30? Okay, did anyone round it to a different number?
I rounded it to 29.
Okay, so you rounded it to 29. Anyone else round it to 29? Okay, so around $29. Now, if we take 30 times 3, that would get us 90. And so if you took 29 times 3, then you probably got 87. Then, yep, I'm getting to that. Then you would add $10 onto it. So if you did 30 times 3 and got 90 and you add 10 onto it, that's $100. So that would be $100. And then if you had 29 times 3, which is 87 plus 10, then that would be 97. So you either got $100 or $97. Now they're asking if they can get their hair colored for less than $100 if they include a $10 tip. You should have said yes, because all of us rounded $28.95 up, right? You either rounded it up to $29 or up to $30. Now, the $100 and the $97, that's not how much they're actually going to pay, is it? We rounded up. So the number we're getting is higher than the actual cost of getting their hair colored and adding a $10 tip. So technically, yes, it would be less than $100 to do all of that, because it is an overestimate. It is an overestimate. Are there questions on number 15? 15. Jack P. What's your... You can't remember? Okay. Are there other questions on this one? Okay. Then we had number 19. Number 17. So number 17, Mrs. Smith bought her 3 children new raincoats. Each raincoat cost $25.99. About how much did Mrs. Smith spend on the 3 raincoats? Is your estimate an overestimate or an underestimate? Write an equation to show your work. So, you guys, what word in this problem stood out to you when you were reading it? What word stood out to you a lot in number 17? What word? Elena? Remember, there's a word that tells us to do something. Emmy? About. If we see the word about in a word problem, what is that telling us to do? Zoe? Round. We need to estimate, so we need to round. So, if we look at $25.99, you could have rounded that to $30, or you could have rounded that to $26. Now, our 3, could we really round the 3 too much in this one? Not really, because there's 3 raincoats. We don't want to mess with that. So, the sample answer. So, an answer you could have gotten was $75 if you rounded. Oh, so they did it a little differently. They rounded $25.99 to $25. So then they took 25 times 3 to get 75. Who got a different answer for number 17? Allison. You got 30 times 3 equals 90? Did anyone get a different one? After. Richie?
I got 26 times 3.
Okay.
And I got 78.
Awesome. So $78, $90, or $75? Is there anything else? Okay. Now, for almost all of those, Jack P., I did not tell you could go. You need to be at your desk. I'll tell you when you can. And you didn't fill out the clipboard either. So if you rounded down to 25, because you're rounding down, that's technically an underestimate. Now, if you rounded up to $26 or up to $30, what kind of estimate is that? It's a overestimate. So if you rounded your number up, it would be an overestimate. If you rounded down, it would be an underestimate. So for this one, since they rounded down to $25, the $75 would be an underestimate. Are there questions on number 17? Richie.
Why wasn't it round at 25? Why did it round to 25.99? We usually round up.
Yes, I think it's because maybe for this person, because we're so familiar with money, counting by 25s might be easier for them to do in their head, possibly. But you're right. Technically, we should round up because it's so close to 26. And if you round to the largest place value, the 2, you look at the 5, and that would tell you to round up as well. So yeah, most people would round up. You're right. Especially since it's money, because you would rather have more money to pay for something than not enough. So yeah, and with money, you'd probably want to round up too. Any other questions? Okay, how did we feel about this assignment overall, 1 through 5? How did you feel about it, 1 through 5? Okay. How do we feel about it, 1 through 5? And make sure you are being honest with me about it. Okay. Jack L., how did you feel about the assignment altogether? Okay. All right, hands down. And Iosis, you do know that there is a pencil sharpener back there, right? Yeah. So go ahead, sharpen your pencil. Frankie, Jack P., you can go to the bathroom quickly. Everyone else, get your notebook ready for today's notes. Next page. Yes, Elena. Yep. Awesome. So you should be getting your notes ready for today. And I'm going to end our homework video.